Hi, this is Kim with Mom's Creative Moments, and I just want to, before I get started today, I just wanted to give a quick thank you to all of you who have been so concerned over my recovery from my emergency surgery that I had on New Year's Eve. It's been an interesting couple weeks, and I am feeling so much better. So much better. I just can't even tell you. I do apologize that I did not get a video put up on Wednesday this week. We flew back in on Tuesday, late in the day, and I just did not have it in me to get something put together for you, and I'm so sorry. But catching up with this on Friday with you today, and then we'll continue hopefully without any more interruptions. So today I thought I would bring you one of our older project recipes. For those of you who are familiar with the Emerald Gemstone collection, this came out February of 2021, so last year, well, 2 years ago, 2 Februaries ago, this came out, and well, almost 2 Februaries ago. We have a little ways to go before we're in February. I'm sorry. But I just love this collection, and I thought it would be a fun way to jump back in. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to use our border maker system, and so if you have that, you're going to need to get that out. And if you're familiar with this collection and maybe you liked it, then you may have this cartridge. This is the Gemstone cartridge that was put out for the border maker system with this collection. So we're going to use this today. It's a pretty cool border punch. But I wanted to point out to you that if you do not have this one, you just need to have some kind of a chain punch. A chain punch means that it's not connected to the paper at all. It completely separates from your main body of paper when you punch it. That's a chain punch. And so I pulled out this one. This is Diamond Windows. This came out fairly recently. This was in a secret box. If you got one of the secret boxes last year that this was in, you might have this one, or you may have the zigzag punch. This one came out, I don't know, I think maybe a year and a half ago, I think is when this one came out. I can't remember for sure, and I didn't write it on here, but this one is fun and kind of in line with our similar theme. But any chain punch should work in this type of a design. So keep that in mind. And I'm just going to set these two aside, and we're going to mainly work with the one that the project recipe calls for, and that's the Gemstone cartridge. Okay, so you are going to also need your permanent and your removable adhesive, and then according to what I'm seeing here, it looks like they also use some of the 12-inch border stickers, which unfortunately I don't have anymore, so we'll have to get a little bit creative, and I'll have to figure out something fun. Maybe I'll use I do have some laser borders, so maybe we'll use some laser borders from this collection instead of the 12-inch stickers. We'll just have to see what happens when we get that far. Let me show you what else I have on my table before I get too far down the rabbit hole here. I have a piece of white cardstock. I have 2 tone-on-tone papers that we're going to weld together, and we're going to use those as a base. And then I have another tone-on-tone and a designer sheet from this collection that we're going to use. And we're going to trim those up for mats and other things. So first of all, I'm going to just set the tone-on-tone on the designer paper that are going to be decorative aside, and also the cardstock for just a second, so that we can attend to our base sheets, which we are going to weld. This is if you're familiar with the collection, you'll recognize this beautiful peacock feather patterned paper. So these are the two we're going to weld together. You need a designer sheet and a tone-on-tone if you're doing this with another collection. or even if you're doing it with this collection and maybe you don't have these two papers, just make sure you have a designer sheet and a tone on tone, and we're going to weld those together. But before I get too far, also I want to go back and show you the project recipe so you can see. This one has a lot of cutting we're going to do for it today, but the first thing we're going to do is get our base sheets put together, because that's really easy and we can get that taken care of and put aside, and then we will jump into punching these borders, cutting these papers, and getting everything all set up. Okay, so we are going to need actually need that white cardstock real quick, because I need to cut 2 welding strips off of it. So grabbing that back and grabbing my trimmer, I'm going to go ahead and cut 2 1-inch pieces off of this. And so just 1 inch and 1 inch. There we go. And I'm just going to set that aside again. Now I'm going to take both of these pieces. I want my feathers to be vertical. I don't want to cut them horizontally. I think that would look a little bit funky. So even if I turn them the other direction, which I might do, I think that's probably better. It doesn't really matter as long as we are cutting them going the right direction. So there we go. That should be fine. And we need to cut these at 6 inches. So you can pull your arm out to measure 6 inches, or you can do like I did and just attach a cool little tab at the top of your trimmer so that you can see where 6 inches is. Since we cut 6 inches so often, I just went ahead and added this cute little thing up here so that I can so I don't have to move my arm out quite so often. And since I have my paper stacked, give me just a second here. I just want to make sure that they're both spot on in the right place. Now that I have that arm down. Here we go. Okay, so 6 and 6. Okay, I'm going to flip this over and flip this over. Of course, I probably didn't need to do that. I always think it's funny. But that'll work. We need, or we're going to have our feathers be in the middle, and our gems, our emeralds, are going to be kind of on the outside. If you haven't seen me weld like this before, this was not my idea. This came from a CM advisor I know and love. Her name is Sherry Tilley, and she taught me how to weld this way. And I love her for that, because otherwise I think it would drive me nuts trying to weld and get everything just perfect. So I think I might have needed just a little more adhesive in there, but that's okay. And I'm just going to trim off this little bit of white that's showing at the bottom, because my white welding strips are just a little bit longer than my 12 by 12 paper. Okay, so this one's going to be the right side of the page, so that means that this page is going to need to be put together like this. Okay, so I'm just going to flip that over so I'm sure that I have the peacock on the correct, going the right direction and on the correct side of my paper. Put a little bit more adhesive on this side, just because it'll make it a little bit easier. There we go. And again, I'm going to just trim off this little teeny bit of white at the bottom. Okay, now I'm going to set these two base sheets aside and grab these other papers that we need to punch and trim. I'm not quite ready for the cardstock yet, but we do need our border maker system. And let me bring the pattern back on screen so you can see. So first we're going to work with our designer paper, which is this one. And I want my swirls to be going across the page like this because that's going to subliminally cause the viewer to move their eye across from left to right. Okay, if you have it vertically, it doesn't have the same flow. So I want it to be flowing left to right, even though it's not really meant to be like water that's moving. It kind of looks similar to that to me, so that's what I'm going to do. And this is our designer paper. First thing we're going to do is punch two borders off of the left-hand side of the page, or this side of the page. So I'm going to, let me just set this up here so you can see it while we are punching. So we're going to punch and load. If you don't have the border maker system, let me just take this opportunity to suggest that you look into getting this system. It's a wonderful system, and quite possibly, well, no, it's not my very favorite thing, but it is one of my favorite tools to use from Creative Memories. It's super versatile. The price point is doable. It doesn't take a lot of room to store. But there's just so much, really so much good I can say about this. This was one of the first tools I invested in when I was a customer of Creative Memories, and I have many cartridges now for it. The cartridges themselves are, like I said, not terribly expensive, and certainly less than an individual decorative punch. So, you can do so much with them. All right, so we punched our two borders using this one, and now what we're going to do is set this just aside. Don't get rid of it. We are going to need it again in just a minute. But first, we need to cut 2 1/2-inch strips. So we're going to measure to the very first line on our grid on the right hand side. That's 1/2 inch. So there we've got one, and now we've got 2. Okay, and then each of these is going to be cut at 6 inches. So I'm going to stack these 2 strips, and then use my little tab on the side that shows me where 6 inches is, and go ahead and cut those. We're going to be flipping some of those over and using the other side, so that will be kind of fun. All right, now I need to cut a 6-inch piece of my main larger piece. So coming over here to 6 inches. Or what might be easier is if we cut the 2 7/8. Ooh, 2 7/8. That's pretty precise. 2 7/8. And what are we doing with that corner? Oh, I see. Okay. All right, so 2 7/8. We're going to cut down there. Just set that aside for a second. We're going to deal with this larger piece, which should be 6 inches. Yep, it is. Great. Okay, we need 2 1.5-inch pieces. So I'm going to use the 1.5 inch on the right-hand side of my grid. It's the next to last mark on the grid on the right-hand side of my trimmer. That's 1.5. So I've got 1 at 1.5, and here comes the second one. There's the second one. Okay. Now I need 2 at 4 inches. So I'm going to measure from this end and come out here to 4 inches. If you have our 12-inch trimmer, there's a nice bold line here that shows you where that 4x6 measure is. That's designed so that you can cut that measurement faster, because it's a measurement we measure a lot for making mats for photos. Okay. And then this little bit that's left we can just hold on to. Okay. So I'm just going to set that aside and grab this strip that we cut at first, the 2 7/8 strip. Okay. This one we are going to cut again at 2 7/8 to make a square. We're actually going to make two squares, so two 2 7/8 inch squares. So there's one, and let's do one more. And then this piece can be saved for another project. These two we're going to stack on top of each other, and then we're going to cut them into a triangle, into 4 triangles. So corner to corner on your cutting line. Okay. This corner and this corner right on the cutting line on your trimmer. And I just moved mine. There we go. Okay. So there's our triangles. Cool. All right, now we're going to grab this piece. We're going to punch 2 strips of our border with this piece. So let me grab my border maker again. And this is the tone-on-tone piece. There isn't a pattern to speak of on either side of this, so no worries on which side you want to start on. Just pick a side if this is the paper you're using or something like it. So we, after my exciting start to my, or end to my year, after I recovered for about a week, a little over a week, my husband and I had previously planned to take a quick trip to Texas to visit my sister and brother-in-law and their son, one of their sons, who live there in Houston. And we've never been to Houston. I think we've driven through Houston, but we've never stopped to smell the roses, so to speak. So we took a quick trip out there, and my husband ran in the Houston Marathon, which was fun and exciting, especially because he was a little bit injured because he went skiing and I don't know, had something crazy happen while he was skiing. Anyway, we had a good visit with them though. It was fun. We had lots of good barbecue. Houston and Texas in general are known for their good barbecue, great barbecue. So we were enjoying that while we were there. And we are done with our border maker. So you can just set that aside after you've punched these two. Now we need our trimmer again. We're going to essentially cut the same pieces that we did last time, although with a couple of small changes. So just bear with me here. We're going to cut another 2 1/2-inch strips. Make sure you're cutting it the 12-inch length, not the shorter inch length. Don't turn your paper. Sometimes when there's not a pattern in the paper, it's very easy to, if you've taken if you don't have your paper already on your trimmer, sometimes you get the paper going the wrong direction. Be careful. Don't do that. Make sure you have the 12-inch length that you're cutting, because you have to cut these things in half so you have 6 inches. So these strips I just stacked. I'm going to bring them right along in here to 6 inches. Anyway, I mentioned our trip because I had the fun of getting to teach my sister-in-law how to scrapbook, which was exciting. She's really not ever done anything quite like that before, so we had some fun putting together some pages. All of her children, pretty much, with very few exceptions, all of her children have played water polo. And they, so we did some water polo pages. I think I just cut this and didn't tell you what I was cutting. This is a 1.5 inch strip, 1.5 inches by 12 inches. Then we're going to turn this and cut it at 6 inches. Okay. So there's our other two 6 by 1.5 inch strips. Now I need a 4-inch wide piece. So yeah, we did some water polo pages. That was all kinds of fun. And she did a great job. And I'm gonna I took some pictures of her pages. I'm gonna add those to, I think, to my Facebook page so you guys can see them. So I took this 4-inch strip, I turned it sideways, and we're cutting 2 at 5 inches. So we have 2 mats that are 4 by 5. Okay, so there's one. I'm gonna make this 5 inches. And then this little piece is extra. So set that aside. So you'll have to tune into my Facebook page, which is the same name as mine, or as this one, to see her cool layouts for her water polo kits. Let's see. Oh, and we did some rafting pictures from Yellowstone also. So this last strip should be 3 3/8. So let's measure it. Let's put it on the cutting line. It is 3 and just a little bit wider than 3/8. I'm going to go with it though, because I don't want to have to trim 1/16 of an inch off of that. So I'm just going to turn this and cut it at 4 inches. I believe these are mats anyway, so that one tiny little 1/16 of an inch is not going to make a huge difference or be super noticeable. So 4 inches and 4 inches, and then this piece is extra. Okay, and then we need our white cardstock. We've already cut our welding pieces, which are these 2 pieces on the edge right here. So we're just going to cut the rest of these mats that we need. So I need a piece that's 3.5. So 3.5 by 12. Then I'm going to turn this and cut 2 at 5.5. Remember, 5.5 is the very edge of our trimmer. Okay, so there's one, and here is the second one. Okay, and then we're going to put this back in here, and we need a piece that is 6.5 inches. So I'm going to pull my arm out, and just to make sure I have one that is 6.5 inches. I should have 6.5. It is just the tiniest bit off. So just for kicks and giggles, I'm going to trim off that itty bitty bit. Okay. Now we're going to turn this and cut 2 of them at 4.5. So essentially you're going to have 2 mats that are 6.5 by 4.5. Okay. They are to double mat the photos that go on the bottom, or in the middle, I beg your pardon. They go in the middle. And then this little piece that's left should be 3 and, it should be 3 inches. It is 3 inches, a little more than that, but that's okay. And then we need 3 5/8, which is 1 more eighth beyond 3.5. For those of you who are math challenged, like I tend to be. All right, so there is our last piece that we need to cut. Now we can assemble. Woohoo! I get excited when it's time to put things together. Okay. Woo. Come on. Okay, now we're going to grab our base sheets that we already put together. And I'm just gonna kind of pick up these pieces that we've got. We know these are gonna go with those. These are just separate. We've got those and those. Okay. I'm gonna put these up here along the top so that we can grab them when we are ready. Alright, so let me just take a quick look and make sure we've got everything in the picture so you can see what we're doing. Alright, so here we have our 2 papers, our 2 pages that we're assembling. First thing we're going to do is go ahead and I'm just going to move these really quick because I think we're going to start with these strips up top first. Okay, so these pieces right here, the 1.5 inch strips, these are going to go, let me just double check something here. Okay, so you have 2 of each kind. You're going to put one, or the same one up here, and then the same one down here. So similar. How did I cut that apart? Look at that. Yeah, okay. So these are going to go on the outside down here on the bottom. These are going to go on the inside on the top. Now, just so you know what you're getting into here, you're going to take 2 of these and they're going to go on the outside of your strip. So there and there. Notice it's the opposite print. This is the print that's down here. The paper that's down on the bottom, on the outside, is the one we're using on the outside in the middle. Then we're going to take these two, and we're just laying these out just to make sure this is what we want. We've got things looking the way we want them to, okay? These go on the outside of these on the bottom. All right. So then what we're going to do is go ahead and adhere these. Now you're going to allow approximately, let me see if it tells us in the instructions. Nope, you know what? It does not give us any instructions at all. Okay, well that's probably not as helpful as we want it to be. So this is what we're going to do. We are going to take the smaller one of these. That's going to be, let me just make sure I'm not leading us all astray. No. Okay, so this is going to go here. And nope. Nope, nope, nope. Hold the phone. I'm so sorry. You need the medium size one, or the larger of the two. The larger of the two that you cut from our tone on tone. So not the small one, you need the bigger one. The bigger one is going to be the one that gets placed here. And then the smaller one is going to be turned and placed below it. Like so, okay? And then these are double matted. So your photo is double matted and going to be on the inside, or you know, in the middle right here. Okay. So let's just get that far. So I'm going to do the outside panels first because I have those kind of laid out. I'm going to grab my repositionable adhesive because we may need to adjust this. I want there to be an even amount of border around the top, between, and between. So I'm going to estimate about 1/4 of an inch between all of those, 1/4 of an inch between this one and my first strip. And I'm going to go ahead and add adhesive to this strip and put it down. I'm so sorry. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and put this down 1/4 of an inch below where we want to place that frame. That's looking a little crooked to me. 1 second. So sorry. So I'm going to use my 0 centering ruler to be able to see. It is crooked. Ladies, it's crooked. Okay, let's fix it. Okay, we're going to just pop this off very carefully and adjust it. I'm not going to pop it off completely, but and it's so hard to see because the background is green and my paper is green. And all right, I think that'll work. Okay, now let's put this one right nose to nose with it. Is that what we're supposed to do? I'm suddenly remembering somewhere it said reverse. Hang on. Hold that phone. Okay, so... Oh, wait. All right, I'm going to go ahead and put this one down, and then I'm going to show you where I goofed. And you can choose to do what you want with your papers. But I will show you what it's supposed to be. So actually, the instructions say to take these strips and flip them over and use the opposite side. Why, I'm not sure, but I think they're just trying to get more variety of color on your page. Because my tone-on-tone is already kind of mottled colors anyway, I'm not going to worry about it. But depending on your tone-on-tone and what it's got on the back side, just know that the instructions do say that these strips on the top and the bottom are actually supposed to be flipped over. And I may actually flip that one over and do the white, just because I think it will add to the white additions on the page. I think it will help make the page not as dark. But I don't think it changes things to flip over this one. It's almost the same color on the back. So you'll have to judge for yourself based on the papers that you chose, whether you feel like it's important to flip it or not. Alright, and so basically this leaves us with a 1/2 inch at the bottom, which is kind of what I thought it was going to do, but I wasn't totally sure, so I didn't know if I ought to suggest that you give it 1/2 inch or not. I'm just centering this mat between where the white mat's going to fall and where the edge of my paper is over here. Gives me about 3/4 inch on either side. And I'm going to do the same thing with this one. Just going to line it up actually with the mat underneath it and keep that 1/4 inch in between. Like that. Okay. Then I'm going to go ahead and put this one centered on this mat. This one's going to be a 1/2 inch from the top, so it's the same as the lower one, just coming down from the top. So just kind of eyeball it. You don't have to measure unless you're, worried about it being totally exact, but it's okay if it's off just a smidge. No one's going to come yell at you about that. I think I'm liking this, having a little bit more white on the page. And it is okay if you want to, if you're concerned about your edges, you can kind of overlap it just a little if you want to. That would be okay. All right, now this piece is going to go slightly off of the center and 1/4 inch. That's a generous 1/4 of an inch, Kimberly. Okay, there we go. And when I judged where to put this, I had this right on the center. But that's not exactly the way the layout goes. So just so you know, but you can do it however it pleases you. And then this one I'm going to line up with the mat above it. So wherever you put this white mat, go ahead and put this white mat in the same place as far as this edge goes. Okay? Keep those lined up and looking sharp. All right, so that sheet is laid out for as far as we're going to do it for now. Let's do this page, this side. This is going to be a mirror image of the left side, so I think I will go ahead and fast forward this so that you don't have to sit through it. And when we get to the part that you haven't seen, I will stop the fast forward. All right, so because these are going to match, I want this border at the top to match. So I've lined up my papers so that they are right next to each other, and then that way I can put on my my first strip and make sure that it's at the same height as the one on the other side. All right, almost getting done here. I'm also going to line this up, and that way I can make sure that this piece, this mat, is in the same place. As far as, you know, the distance from the center to where this mat starts. Okay, and then I need this longer piece, this white one. As long as we're lining everything up, we'll line this one up too. Okay. All right, now this piece is actually designed to go inside this mat, or you could put it inside this mat over here as a journal box. So you can kind of decide which side's going to work best for you. I think it all depends on what photos you're going to put on this page, whether you would want to put it on the right or on the left. So it doesn't really make a huge bit of difference as far as I am concerned. So I'm going to follow the directions and do it exactly like the layout that was done for us. Okay, these corners that we have up here, these are designed to go inside of here. Now you can keep them with the pattern that matches this mat, or you can flip it if you would rather and do what's on the back, because that's going to match what's here. So it just depends on what's going to make you the most happy, I suppose. And I'm trying to see where it is that they put, oh, the other mat goes down, or the other corner goes down here. So I think I like the jewel tones for on top of the white mats down here, but I think I like the white on top of the mat up here. So I'm going to go with that, and it looks like they did that in our sample, because the color here on this corner does not look like the color on this corner down here. I think they did the same thing. They flipped it. So I think that'll work. So I'm going to go ahead and use my repositionable adhesive so that I don't have to worry about those points on the corners. And these are going to go just about maybe less than 1/8 of an inch from the edge of your mat, so you can still see the mat, the white cardstock mat underneath. And we're going to do the same thing with these up here on top. So just in from the edge so you can see that there is another color underneath there. Now, some of you are probably wondering, we punched those borders with our border maker system, and we did not use them yet. We're going to use them right now. I was just noticing that the stripes on this triangle are not going the same direction as all the other stripes. So I probably should have used one of these triangles up here to make that uniform. I may be one of the only people that bugs, but you know, that's okay. I'll probably fix it eventually. But in the meantime, let's finish this layout so that you can get on to doing something else with your day. Okay, so we're going to take our punched layouts, or our punched our punched borders that we've got over here, our gemstone punches. Okay, and because I used the kind of marbly paper to punch this border, and this is my tone on tone, I'm going to go ahead and use this one up here on the top. And you will put them down so that they are opposite each other. So you can see, I don't know if you can tell that from looking there. Let me show it to you on the white down here. So you put them down so that they are opposite. So that, can you see that little arch is opposite? Like a mirror this way, sandwich kind of thing. All right, so these go across here, and then we cut them. That's the easiest way to do it, so that you make sure that it's cut accurately. It's the easiest way I have found anyway. So I'm just going to lay this one over here and put some repositionable adhesive on it. I'm going to be generous with my repositionable adhesive and put it pretty much the whole way down my piece, lining up the edge with the edge of my paper and the point of the punch with the edge of my stripe paper down here in the bottom. And I'm just going to adhere it all the way across, just like that. And I'm going to do the same thing with the top piece. And I say be generous with your adhesive because when you trim this, you want it to stay together. Okay? So we don't want to have flailing edges that we have to go back and try to stick down. If we can help it. You'll notice that this kind of forms, a pattern, a cool pattern. We're going to do the same thing with this guy, only we are going to have to cut this one. So I'm going to put my adhesive all the way across, or halfway across, actually, just halfway across. I'm going to put the edge on this, on my welded edge, and the tops of my punched piece at the top of my paper. Then I'm going to do the same thing with this guy. How did I do that? I think I flipped it this way. Okay. No, I didn't. I need this bit. That's okay. I will use that adhesive anyway in just a minute. Okay, so we're just going to line it up again on the edge and with the tip on the bottom. Like so. Alright, now I'm going to take my scissors, I'm going to come up here and I'm going to trim this apart. You could use your trimmer to cut that apart if you wanted to. Whatever makes you happy. I'm going to come back over here. I'm going to trim these guys off so that I can add them to this side over here. This one already has the adhesive on it, so I'm going to stick it down first. Okay, then we're going to go like this. Cool. Okay. Now here's where I need to get a little bit creative because it's time for embellishments, and they've used a border sticker that goes across in the center of between our two punched pieces on both the upper ones and the lower ones. So I need to find maybe a laser embellishment that I could use, because since this is an older collection, I have used the embellishments, the stickers that I would have used. Aha, look at that. That would be fun to use right in there. That would be really fun. Let's see if I have something equally as cool for the bottom. There's this one, but that one doesn't really match what I want on this page. There's this one, which we could do. Let me see if this is double-sided. Nope, not. Nope. Okay. That one's too wide. could use this one. Might be a little bit big, but I could use it. Could just go ahead, I have another set of these, so I could just go ahead and pull out the other one of those. I think I might do that because I think that follows the pattern that we are making so much better. So let me grab this other one and pull out. If you have the stickers for the collection that you're using, just use one of the 12-inch stickers that that you feel like works best with the punch that you chose to use. Okay, I'm going to use these. I think those are awesome. They seem to really work well for that space. Okay, I'm gonna cut this one in half. So let me see here. I'm gonna just line it up on my board. And 6 inches is gonna be right here. So we're gonna go like that. And I'm just going to line that up right in the middle. That laser embellishment, or laser border, it's like it was made for this design. Maybe it was. Leave it to the CM designers. That is like perfect how that fits in there. So we could do the same thing we did before and just adhere the whole thing and then snip it in the middle, which I think I'm going to do just because I feel like it's easier than trying to make sure you got it measured just right. This is a life hack, I guess you could say. It makes me happy. Okay, here we go. Just gonna snip that right in the middle. All right, so our two separate pieces. Now we have some, I do have some stickers. I just don't have my 12-inch stickers, border stickers. So I do have these we can use to add some embellishment. So let's pick our words. Full of wonder, sunset love, hello world, rock on, life is so endlessly exquisite. More precious than rubies, crystal clear, do small things with great love. I like that. It's up to you to see the beauty in everyday things. I like that too. All right, let's see. I need something, we're going to put something right here, we're going to put something right here, and we're going to put something over here to accent our journal box and be in all of our thirds. Okay, so let's see, we're going to use this one, we're going to use this one, and I think that's all for the words. I think putting 3 things of words might be a little bit more than I want to do. Okay, so we're gonna grab my foam squares. Do I have any little foam squares? I think I only have big foam squares. How is that possible? I always have little foam squares. There's so many more of them. Oh well. Okay. Let's create some clusters with our other little doodads that we have here. Small Things with Great Love, I feel like needs this gemstone heart somehow. Stick that back there maybe. And add, what can we add? Maybe add just a little something, something right in there. We can put that down here. I'm going to add my foam squares kind of over the welded areas of my stickers to give them a little bit of extra support. Just a little. I know many people, I don't know if you've seen this done before, but I have seen people add powder and things like that to their stickers so that they're not quite as sticky, so they don't stick to your page. I'm not that concerned about it, so it's okay. I think it will be all right, just like this. Okay, so there's one. Then we're going to do It's Up to You to See the Beauty in Everyday Things. This one, going to add maybe this guy. And maybe this guy. Maybe like that. So we have a little bit of blue and a little bit of green. All right. Just getting the backs pulled off of these. Sometimes it takes me a minute. This, I believe, I would stick up here, kind of towards the center. Beauty in Everyday Things. And then we still need something for over on the side. We'll take these other two gems and maybe our geode. And I think I'm going to go ahead and put these two kind of down on, flat on the page, and then just pop this one up. Wow, I feel like these are just giant foam squares for this little guy, but that's okay. It is what it is. And I will remember, now that I'm back at this, to pull out another package of foam squares, right? Okay, and then we can write about what we've got on the page, the photos we have on the page right there. All right, I believe that concludes this session. And I I'm excited. I love this collection, and it's so gorgeous with the pictures that it has. So let's just go through the different sizes of photos that you would use here, because I don't have my little measurement guides. So these two in the center are not a full 4x6 because we cut these at 4x6, but the photos would be 5.5 by 3.5, or you could even do a 5 3/4 by 3 3/4 and be fine in these center ones. These two at the bottom would be 5 by 3. This one right here is going to be 3.5 by 3 inches, the photo. And this one would be 3.5 by 4.5 inches. All right. So 3.5 by 4.5 inches, 3.5 by 3 inches, 5 by 3 inches, and 5.5 by 3.5 inches for these center ones. I hope that you have had fun putting this together with me. And again, I thank those of you who sent your well wishes on my behalf. I am feeling so much better, and I appreciate everyone's prayers and support as I got through that completely unexpected emergency surgery that I ended up going through. And Lord willing, we won't have to worry about that ever again. Well, we know we don't have to worry about the gallbladder ever again. Good riddance, as they say. Next week, I hope to come to you with another Disney layout and another Hawaii layout and another project recipe. So, lots to look forward to. I hope you have a fantastic weekend, and I appreciate you being here with me. And until next time, I wish you many more creative moments. Thanks so much. Have a great day.